I've been playing games for a large chunk of my life, sinking hundreds of hours into these giant digital sandboxes. And let me tell you, there is nothing quite like getting completely lost in a massive open world. Beyond simply clearing icons or leveling up, these titles thrive on spontaneous encounters, the choices, and the sheer depth you only get when a world breathes right alongside the player. Grab a snack and settle down, because we are looking at 10 massive worlds ready to absorb hundreds of hours of your time.
I'm here to say goodbye to all of you.
Far more than just a redemption story at this point, Cyberpunk 2077 has evolved into an absolute triumph in urban world building. This is one of the most unusually packed RPGs you will ever play, and its focus on verticality and first-person presence is completely unrivaled. Play as a cyber-enhanced street merc, navigate a complex web of corporate intrigue, or just spend hours driving through the neon-drenched streets of Night City listening to the radio. One particularly chaotic session perfectly sums this up. I failed a stealth gig because I double-jumped onto a glass skylight and shattered it, falling straight into a room full of heavily armed gang members. Instead of reloading my save, I just deployed my mantis blades, and the game turned it into a chaotic, defining bloodbath for my character. Night City refuses to coddle players or sugarcoat its dystopian reality. It's raw, loud, and utterly indelible. The level of detail here is insane. From the grime in the back alleys to the towering corporate mega buildings, it's well worth the return trip. Surviving a zombie apocalypse is a familiar fantasy, but Days Gone distills it into one of the most fascinating open-world experiences in recent memory. I came in hoping for a decent ride, and boy did this game deliver. The blend of resource scavenging, motorcycle maintenance, and intense run-for-your-life combat makes every session feel notably nerve-wracking. It is hard to shake the sheer panic of that first real encounter with a horde near an old logging camp. I thought I was being clever, sneaking around for scrap, only to accidentally trigger an alarm that brought hundreds of freakers pouring over a hill like a tidal wave. That's the beauty of this world. It is actively hostile, and your mistakes are punished instantly. You start out feeling exceptionally frail, but taking that drifter bike from a rusty junker to a fully upgraded beast feels phenomenal. A rugged, slow-burn survival road trip that absolutely deserves your time.
Suppose there's a chance you may encounter the Dark Protector.
Nostalgia is a powerful thing, and Hogwarts Legacy is an open-world RPG that practically drips with it. From its sweeping Scottish highlands to the mesmerizing halls of the school itself, everything here feels handcrafted to hit you right in your childhood. I grew up with the books and movies, but after sinking a few hours into this game, I still couldn't get enough of just exploring the castle, flying my broom over the Black Lake, uncovering secret passageways, and participating in surprisingly fluid wand combat. It's an experience unlike any other licensed game out there. One crowning moment for me was finally unlocking the Room of Requirement. I spent hours just customizing my little sanctuary, decorating the walls and brewing potions. The game's map is full of typical open-world tasks, but its richly detailed environments make every little side activity feel magical. For anyone who always wanted to wander those moving staircases, this is truly like coming home.
To bring silence to the table. Not if...
Sequels can be tricky, but Horizon Forbidden West takes everything I loved about the first game and dials the intensity all the way up. After spending entirely too many late nights hunting robot dinosaurs, I was still blown away by the sheer scale of the improvements here. The new biomes feel novel and colorful, and the revamped melee and trap systems add a level of tactical depth that's downright addictive. One of my favorite moments was prepping for a fight against a colossal Slitherfang. I'd poured hours into upgrading my gear, tweaking my elemental ammo to exploit its exact weaknesses. Then I accidentally dodged right into its tail and promptly got obliterated. That's when I remembered the game's genius. Success relies entirely on reading the battlefield and adapting on the fly, rather than merely having the highest stats. Forbidden West will punish you for careless mistakes, but taking down a machine the size of a building is immensely rewarding. With its spectacular underwater sections and remarkably detailed tribal settlements, it's an essential experience for action-adventure fans.
The Mongol Empire is invading our home.
There are few games that deliver sheer visual poetry, quite like Ghost of Tsushima. This one might not have the remarkably packed, chaotic city streets of some others on this list, but with its striking art direction and its minimalist approach to the UI, it's entirely in a league of its own. The game offers your typical camps to clear and skill trees to climb, but the highlight feature is the guiding wind. Instead of staring at a corner compass, you are genuinely following the breeze through fields of white pampas grass. Nothing quite compares to that first time stumbling into a standoff beneath a canopy of red autumn leaves. The tactical, stance-based combat is highly robust, making every sword clash feel like a classic samurai film. As for the visuals, it's got that remarkably refined, hyper-stylized shine that just never gets old. Personally, I like a game that lets me just exist in its space without bombarding me with notifications, and Tsushima does exactly that. A gorgeous experience if you want to live the life of a conflicted warrior and just soak in the scenery. Some titles simply just don't age poorly, and Fallout New Vegas remains an absolute classic that holds up exceptionally well today. It's one of those rare RPGs where your choices truly shape the world, and every single playthrough feels as if you uncover a completely new secret. I easily lost hours trying to resolve the tension between the NCR and Caesar's Legion, constantly weighing my personal morals against the game's brilliantly written gray morality. The Mojave Wasteland is absolutely magical in its atmosphere. By magical, I mean in an eerie, irradiated Wild West kind of way. There are no wrong decisions here, only hilarious or devastating consequences. You will have a blast talking your way out of a firefight, only to accidentally wander into a quarry full of death claws because you took a wrong turn. The shooting mechanics, while definitely dated by modern standards, still perfectly serve the fantastic faction systems underneath. What really gripped me was the writing. It's dark, gritty, witty, and often fiercely honest. It's a piece of RPG history that every fan of player-driven narratives should experience. Instead of a gritty Western sandbox, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth leans entirely into spectacular visuals, absorbing combat, and ridiculously fun minigames. The game takes a beloved cast of characters and throws them into a gigantic, explorable planet, and intertwining their relationships together is a wildly rewarding experience. What shines most is the sheer variety. One minute you are battling a colossal Midgard Storm, and the next you are spending 3 hours playing a card game in a desert saloon or racing chocobos. Its hybrid combat mechanics are simple to grasp, but offer immense depth once you start syncing up party abilities and staggering bosses. Some of the side quests genuinely had me laughing out loud because of how charming and goofy the banter is. Balancing grandiose, world-saving stakes with light-hearted fun makes Rebirth an absolute joyride. By completely shattering the traditional quest-log open-world mold, Elden Ring uses its magnificent art direction, obscure storytelling, and addictive exploration to easily earn a spot on this list. Having sunk countless hours into From Software's unforgiving catalog, I was blown away by how this game combines their trademark punishing combat with a highly gratifying sense of absolute freedom. The sheer scale of the lands between terrain adds a layer of awe rarely seen in the genre. Players can tackle it however they please, whether that's building a traditional spellcaster or running around in your underwear wielding a gigantic club. A defining highlight for me was randomly taking a basic elevator and realizing it was carrying me deep underground into an entire subterranean cosmos I had no idea existed. The combat is endlessly satisfying, and there are moments where pure strategy and patience pay off perfectly. And let's not forget the sheer satisfaction of finally defeating a demigod after 40 attempts, a magnum opus that rewards curiosity just as much as skill.
Behind them, blood-soaked fields.
Establishing a standard that still goes toe-to-toe with modern releases, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt boasts a story, characters, and world that remains some of the very best the genre has to offer. Whole afternoons easily vanished while exploring its trailblazing map, getting entirely lost in the bustling streets of Novigrad and the exceptionally muddy, monster-infested swamps of Valen. The game's side quests are legendary, and some of the NPCs you meet will stay with you well beyond the finale. From the tragic backstory of the Bloody Baron to the witty banter with Yennefer and Dandelion, every single interaction feels exceptionally meaningful. The combat is heavily preparation-based, making you feel like a true working-class monster hunter as you brew the exact right potions for a particular beast. The game still looks gorgeous today, especially with the latest updates. Far from a mundane open-world to-do board, this stands as a dark fantasy journey full of political intrigue and personal demons.
One more big score, we got enough money to leave.
Out of everything on this list, the one game you should probably play to truly get lost is Red Dead Redemption 2. I've played through it a couple of times, and each time has genuinely felt like a remarkably different experience. The level of detail here is insane, and that's what sets Red Dead apart from other open worlds. It's the sheer commitment to simulating a living, breathing frontier. Want to spend an entire afternoon just hunting legendary animals, brewing coffee by the fire, and brushing your horse? Great! This game is the ultimate sandbox for authentic realism. Trying to be an honorable outlaw, only to accidentally run someone over with my horse in Saint Denis and end up with half the town's lawmen chasing me into the swamps, perfectly encapsulates the unpredictability of it all. It's raw, exceedingly real, and demands you take your time with its methodical pacing. The story of Arthur Morgan is an absolute triumph from start to finish. If you haven't played it yet, do yourself a huge favor and give it a try. 10 massive worlds that have completely eaten up my free time over the years. There is something genuinely special about that feeling of checking the time, realizing it is way too late, and knowing the last 4 hours vanished entirely because a weird cave off in the distance completely derailed the main quest. That is the actual magic of these giant sandboxes. Instead of merely handing over a campaign to finish, they provide a place to actually exist in for a while. This is really only scratching the surface. There are dozens of other phenomenal games that could have easily taken a spot on this list. I would love to hear what world completely pulled you in. What is the one layout you practically know by heart? If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and consider subscribing for more. We really appreciate you watching. Take care.